What's up, lemon heads? Welcome to another episode of From the Yellow Chair. I am Crystal, and guys, today we're talking about email marketing. I know y'all need to be doing it. Y'all know y'all need to be sending out emails very consistently. And Lemon Seed is part of our strategy for building your brand. Email is always included in that plan. Today, I have a pretty phenomenal expert from a fantastic nationwide company that lives in this space. And so I am so excited to talk through this. Y'all know we're in the middle of Alphabet Soup series, where we are talking a lot about the acronyms that we as contractors and marketers throw around like candy, and how we really can understand how those acronyms impact our marketing performance. Today, we're talking about CTR and ROI. So buckle up, get situated, and listen up, and let's sip some lemonade. Jocelyn, welcome to the show, girl.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so today's little episode is all about making sense of your email marketing metrics. And when we were working with MailChimp, we work with MailChimp a lot. They were like, hey, we have somebody great you should interview. And we were like, yes, this is perfect for Alphabet Soup. So, Jocelyn, I know this is not your first rodeo with email marketing. So tell us why anybody should care what Jocelyn has to say about email metrics.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. First off, very, very honored to be here. Very, very honored to be with a top tier partner like Lemon Seed. So this is amazing. I've been working with MailChimp for the last 16 years. It'll be my 16th year anniversary in August. So I'm very, very excited about that. I started before I came to MailChimp with a marketing degree. I love web design. I love all of that. And just when I got to MailChimp, started out on the bottom, worked in product support. So every single question about email, I've seen it from a global audience, from the United States to Australia, all over the world, all different kinds of industries. And I did that for probably about a decade, in different aspects, from customer success to, product support, taking chats and emails, to now I teach, right? I've learned so much about email marketing and now SMS marketing and, multi-channel marketing, because multiple touch points in MailChimp now. But now I teach it every day to partners and as well as customers. And so I'm part of the MailChimp Academy team, and I help to lead that with Intuit MailChimp. And that's pretty much how I'm a certified expert. I live this. I love this every day. Even I'm out at little markets and things on the weekend, I'm telling them about MailChimp. Why they still use email.
Well, and honestly, it's one of those strategies that when people start with me, and maybe they're not large enough to use Lemon Seed yet, but I'm like, every contractor out there, whether you're doing 200,000 or 200 million, email should be a part of your strategy, and it's a very affordable part of your strategy. So, well, let's kind of jump into this.
Okay.
So setting the stage, why metrics really get ignored. So I think, Jocelyn, contractors don't even know what to measure.
Right.
So sometimes we're sending out emails and we're like, okay, check, we can check the box. We sent out an email. But really true growth for your email campaigns comes from monitoring those things and manipulating the copy, the subject line, the audience to get a better result. Right. So I think they're just not looking at the data. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because it's just like you said, it's a checkbox, right? It's just like, okay, I sent an email. Now where's the money? Where's the leads? Where are the phone calls? It's just like, you have to look at the metrics first to know what you are doing is exactly correct or where you need to align on your strategy. Totally agree.
Well, because what happens is, we send it. Marketing is not a set it and forget it style game. It just isn't. And I know y'all want it to be contractors, but it is not. And Lemon Seed was literally built, Jocelyn, just so you know, we were built to serve as fractional chief marketing officers. So basically fractional marketing teams for contractors that don't want to have a full in-service team or in-house team. So I'm like, we have to be watching and sending out emails and monitoring what's performing. So what happens, when we send and forget it is that it never actually is optimized to performing the best that it can. So if you're sending emails right now, good for you. Now put in step 2. Layer in step 2 where you're actually watching and measuring and pivoting where you need to pivot. So the difference between vanity metrics and true metrics also can be,
Mhm.
people say, well, my open rate's 50%. And I'm like, okay, you a lie. But it's okay because sometimes it is if you're like free services or something crazy. But I know that we can break down some of these acronyms. So I thought we can get started just with some main key metrics for email marketing. You good?
Right. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay. So the first one we have is OR. So what's your OR, right? That's your opening rate, right? What do
Mhm.
we think that means? What is it? What's considered healthy and what really affects that open rate?
Yeah, that OR, that open rate, exactly like you said, it's like, did you get my attention in that inbox? How many emails do we get a day? Like, hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, but out
Yep.
of that inbox, like, which one captured my attention? Which one is actually making me go through and seeing, like, did you offer me a solution? What kind of benefits are you even offering me? As we look in our inboxes every day, it's just like, it's not just about the subject lines. It's the timing, it's the actual like benefit, like I was saying before, it's the actual, coupons or the discount rates, it's the relevance. So that
Yep.
open rate, for any industry, I get a question probably once a day is like, what's a good open rate for me? So I'm curious if we can go there and talk about
Yeah.
industry benchmarks because your industry is so niche.
Yep.
Um, and it's just like, okay, for my industry specifically, what kind of open rate should I look for? So I'm curious, I know you're asking me questions, but I'm curious, what kind of open rate do you see?
Yeah,
For
so
your
most of our clients are seeing a 35 to 40% open rate, okay? And that is because Lemon Seed, we are using email for brand building and top of mind awareness. So we always have what I call soft calls to action in there, but
Mm,
really those are designed for, oh, by the way, don't forget we also have this. So our content is very localized content. So like, here's what's going on in your community. Here's a fun little craft. Here's a tips on getting your home ready for summer. We make it a lot more educational and informal than we do like buy our product,
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So how does that compare to industry standards?
No, like the industry standard is about 30 to 35% just across all industries, right? Like here and
Mhm.
there, that's the flub. And that's just on MailChimp's benchmarks. We have about 10 million users.
Okay.
So what you're seeing is right there, where it should be and above, right? Especially if you're doing that personalization that you just mentioned, that localization, like that strategy. It's not just your one size fits all. So that's great.
And then Jocelyn, do you see that the AI manipulations of the inbox where they're doing the like quick reads, like the little snapshots for the AI side, do you see that that's impacting open rates? I figure y'all are seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the email rules that you might see built in Gmail, the Gemini add-ons that give you the snippets. Like it's so important that you pay attention to what you put in your emails because they're just going to give you a high level summary of what's in that email. So if you can add that value as quickly as possible, so Gemini can pick that up and surface the actual benefit to the actual person that's reading the inbox, then you'll be golden. But again, that takes strategy. It takes folks like Lemon Seed that know that this is actually there. So many marketers that are running their own thing have no idea that there are those kind of tools in the inbox. So
Yeah. So, right now, contractors, every time you send an email, a lot of people have like a snippet, a synopsis, a little quick AI overview of what's in your email. So you better hit some high points
for
in
sure.
that email. And if it is like we offer financing and we're open 24/7, like nobody's gonna open that. So that
Right.
will impact your open rate. So okay, so if we're below the third, let's say we're below, we have a 15% open rate.
Lord. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we have a low open rate, Jocelyn. What do you think we should do? What would be the first thing you maybe thought to do?
A/B testing.
Okay.
I mean, that's something I recommend for everybody because there's no way that you can make sure that everything is correct in just one email, in one, I guess, scenario is what I'll call
One
it.
structure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and, like, I mean, you can't A/B test every single thing, like, I mean, just starting with just testing two different subject lines. Like if you're a basic, like test one variant with one subject line and test another variant with another and see how those compare,
So
right?
you take your whole database. Let's say you're sending an email newsletter to 100 people. You're
Okay.
going to use one subject line to 50 people and the
Yes.
other subject line to the other 50 people. And
Mhm.
then you're going to look at what had better performance and metrics. And you're going to say, okay, this subject line worked better. So then the
Correct.
next time you send an email, you use that style of subject line. So that's A B testing. And
Mhm.
so, especially when you're starting email marketing, or if you're trying to revamp your email marketing, that's a really good strategy is, maybe even 3, you could ABC test it. Like, what were, and maybe one is wild, one's very different, very out of the box, one's very traditional, and one's right in the middle, and just see how your market is responding to those things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One with an emoji, one without an emoji, like
Right. Right.
all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was cool. Now, the biggest piece that people like to blow us up about is CTR,
Oh, wow.
click
Yeah.
through rate.
Yeah.
So where I like to stop here for a minute. Click through meaning the client, so contractors, your homeowner gets an email from you. The click through rate is, did they just read your email and scroll on or hit delete, or did they click into something in that email that took them somewhere else?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we want them to go to our website. We want the website traffic or maybe social media, depending on your intent of where you're sending people, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So click through rate and what it, like, I like to talk about the difference between it and the open rate and the why it matters. Open rate, back to the beginning. That's literally why, how many people actually clicked and opened your email.
Mhm.
Now we're going to talk about how many people did an action,
Right.
performed an action inside of that. So, what is the industry average for click through rate, you think? This
Tip
one's all over the place a little bit more.
It is, and I'm gonna pull it up right now. We have it's about 2.6%.
Okay, so lemon seed is hovering around 3.5% click through rate. But let me tell you why. We are always like, click here to learn more. And we had to learn, we moved that click through button further up in the email.
Top. Yes. Yes.
So here's what happens, homeowners. Think that the odds of us catching someone that needs out a new roof, a new pest control, a new HVAC unit, new plumbing, new landscaping, the day they open the email, like, oh my God, thank God y'all emailed me this morning. There's water pouring all over my kitchen. That doesn't happen, right? So a click through rate means whatever you said interested them enough for them to click through to the next step.
Yeah.
So what Lemon Seed's strategy is click here to see the football schedule. Click
Oh.
here to go to the Chamber of Commerce to see what else is going on. Click here to land on our offers page. Tons of ways to get them engaged with us because we want their engagement from things. And
Absolutely.
so 3.5% of the time, people are, now that sounds like a very low number, but again, home service companies, we are time of need. People do not give two whole craps about us
Oh.
until they need our services. So we want them seeing our brand in environmental awareness style. So, basically, I just want them when they do need our services because they have seen our emails, our billboards, our socials, they think of us first. So
Absolutely.
this is a part of the puzzle. And so, what do you think impacts click through rate?
Like you said at the top, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. Having you just said it really is like number one is having things to click on. I don't know how many emails I see from people and they have nothing to click on, like just blobs and blobs of content, paragraphs and paragraphs, and no call to action.
Or it's very boring. Click here to learn more. Like, that you're all. No
Right.
one wants to learn more about indoor air quality.
Oh
You know,
my
like, I think
God.
you can say, click here to see the 5 reasons you're not sleeping well
Right.
at night.
Relevancy, right?
Okay?
Like that's a problem.
Answer a problem that they
Right.
might have.
Exactly.
So, hey, click here to see why your water is murky.
Right.
Click here to
Right.
see why you have hot and cold spots in your home. Click
Right.
here to see the biggest insects affecting your home today.
Right. And not some little link, right? Like that CTA has got to be big enough for me to see on a mobile device. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Which
reading.
that CTA is the next acronym.
Oh,
That it's okay, call to action.
okay.
But call to action impacts CTA impacts CTR. Here,
Yes.
listen to all these acronyms. But your call to action to what Jocelyn was saying here, what you are asking people to do negatively or positively impacts the click-through rate, the CTR.
It does.
And so if you are putting boring stuff in your, or heck, like she said, no call to action at all,
Right.
click here to learn more. Yes, it's a call to action. It's just a crappy one.
Right. 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 But it might take you a while to figure that out. You know what I mean? You cannot,
Right.
it's an experiment. You know, it might take you a couple of crappy ones to get to a good one, but that's the whole beauty of it all. You cannot stop. You can't stop experimenting.
So we should be driving for a 2% closing rate. So let's say I'm sorry, click-through rate. So
Mhm.
let's say that we're getting a 0.5 click-through rate on
Mhm.
our emails. So
Mhm.
we log in, and I'll say this, I love MailChimp. So let's say you log into your MailChimp dashboard and you're like, I'm getting like 0.2, 0.5, 1 point something.
Mhm.
I think click-through rate, one of the ways that you can help grow that, increase that, is through your CTA, your calls to action, like we mentioned.
Yep.
So if you look and you're like, okay, now I've got my open rate up because I was fixing my content and fixing my subject lines. And now my click through rate, I've got to get it better. So now I still need to go in and manipulate those call to actions. So
Mhm.
I'm going to A B test it again. So I've got my subject line nailed down. Now
Mhm.
my content, I can A B test and say, okay, click here to call.
Mhm.
Or do you think you are do you sneeze all day long in your home? Click
Mhm.
here for an analysis of your indoor air quality.
Right.
I promise. Now, listen, y'all can A B test that if you want, but I'm telling you, the other one's going to perform better because it is much more interesting. And Jocelyn, you keep using the word relevancy, and that is a perfect word. We have got to talk in problems.
Mhm.
So,
Abs-
do you feel like your electric bill is high? Click here to see ways to save energy in your home.
Right.
That
Right.
needs to be a blog on your website that you're clicking people over to, right?
Absolutely. Mhm.
So those CTAs affect your CTR
Mhm.
consistently. And honestly, because of the AI overviews now and snippets, it could be affecting your OR.
Sure.
So listen, CTA, of all the ones that we're going to talk about today, I think call to action, CTA, is the most impactful lever to pull. What do you
Absolutely.
think?
Absolutely. Because if there's nothing to click, there's nothing for me to do. You know, what action am I gonna take?
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
that is so true. I've never thought to say that out loud, but some of you have no call to action. So you're like, well, I have a terrible CTR. Like, where the heck my CTR is terrible.
Right.
Sir, there's like nothing to click through to.
Exactly. Or where
Click,
did I see it? Can I find it? Do I have to look
well,
for it?
and I think a lot of people call this like click to call.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So they confuse this with like, no one called me from the email. Now, let me tell you something.
Mm.
Um, the customer experience, the customer journey isn't always clean and perfect. So you might write in your article, let's keep going with the pet dander situation, right? Like, hey, you have a pet dander, are you sneezing all day long? So you're going to click them through to your website. They're going to read a blog about it, be like, I probably need to do something about this. Like, I've been struggling with this. I should do something about it. Then
Mhm.
they're going to go call your website number.
Mhm. Mhm.
So somebody in your marketing team needs to connect those dots for you.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
if not, you're gonna be like, well, my website got that lead. Okay. Well, your website itself was a landing spot from somewhere else. Something else drove me to your website. And this one needs to give credit back to the emails.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So there's some structure there. All right. Well, talk to me a little bit more about the ROI, right? The return on our investment. How
Yeah.
does MailChimp approach ROI?
Man, so we are, depending on your industry, depending on like what kind of platform you're using, we are calculating that ROI directly in the platform. So if you're seeing that you've connected, for an example, if you're e-commerce or if you have some kind of a Square connection,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, we are counting every open, every click, and then attributing that specifically to MailChimp. right? Like you need
Yep.
to know exactly, like you were saying, like if you do social media, if you have your website traffic, like all of those touch points you have to measure. But what actually is driving the return on investment? What is actually driving you revenue? And if so, like if MailChimp is the one that is driving that revenue, then you're going to put more work into MailChimp, right? Like you're going to
Yep.
put more focus on your email marketing. You're going to put more focus on your segmentation strategy or your automations or what have you. You need to know exactly where that money is coming from, and every touch point that you're using needs to tell you what your ROI is. Like, what are they contributing to the ROI? That's what I want to know. I'm not using that touch point unless they tell me how much money they're making me, right? Like, I have to know because our time is limited. You know, you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, we want to be able to make more money. This is what contractors, I think y'all all can agree with me. You have unlimited budget for things that are working.
Right.
Okay, so you'll keep giving money to things that are working. So I think it's important to have expectations about performance. I talk about this all the time. When you launch a new tactic, I read an article the other day that called some of y'all tacticians, meaning y'all are no strategy, but y'all know how to work the heck out of a tactic. Okay.
Sure.
So strategically, where we place email marketing, your expectation of performance depends on what you need your emails to do. So if you are using emails to sell higher tickets like add-ons, like IAQ maintenance agreements and things like that, then you have to have a reasonable expectation that that is going to have a lower response rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then also same thing, even a lower response rate is going to be just straight brand building.
Right.
Just letting you know, here's what we did, here's what we do, blah, we're going to be out in the community.
Right.
We're not asking them to do anything.
Right.
So
Right.
there's probably not going to be a ton of ROI that comes from, hey, catch us at the Spring Fest. But did you know we offer financing? And for the next 3 weeks, we're offering 0% financing. We are hoping to have a reaction to that email.
Absolutely.
So our expectations are we're going to send that same email 3 times with the same call to action, updating the subject line. Time is running out, and
Correct.
we expect to see a decent ROI. So email marketing is also one of the most cheap, affordable ways to market. So you're going to have low costs on the front side, other than maybe labor, low costs on the front side for it to then be reflective in the backside of, you should generate a money return there. So, I mean, that's always interesting to me. So, just to kind of wrap this little section up here,
Mm-hmm.
If you were looking at this, so we said 2% would be a good place to look at a click-through rate,
Mm-hmm.
and 35 to 40% or 30% would be a good benchmark for open rate. And then ROI, depending on what you've done or what your offer is, what your creative is, your return on that investment should be huge. So,
Right. Correct.
I mean, you're going to be like literally $100 into, maybe to an email. So you technically, honestly, y'all should be able to get like 50 times
Right.
ROI on email, because you sell one system off of an email, you've paid for email for 3 months.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's
Right.
very low cost.
Right.
Any other benchmarks that you think contractors should keep in mind?
Man, I would say that growth rate, your audience growth rate. I know that's not a acronym or whatever. The acronym,
Well,
that's a theme, but it's part of email marketing. I think how many people you're bringing in to your audience is a rate that you need to pay attention to, because if you're not bringing in new people, new loyal fans on a consistent basis, like that's my always on strategy and different touch points, like at the market, or if you're on your website and on social media, like all those different things can bring in, and on your phone even can bring in your audience, and that'll give you more people to email and learn from, so that you can do that ROI analysis at the end of the day, and you can look at that click-through rate and that open rate. Because if you are drilling the same audience and the same people with the same message over and over and over, oh man, like it's only so much. You got to, it's a lifestyle, it's a life cycle function. And I think you talked about it before, like it's a customer journey, and somebody's got to own that from beginning to end for you.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little quick thing here. So let's talk about how do we read all of your metrics together, not in isolation.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
if you've got a high open rate, we worked down some, a high open rate, but a low click-through rate, what that usually means, right? So high open rate, low click-through rate. So high OR, low CTR. Okay.
Yep.
What
Yep.
that normally means, and we talked about it, we hit it on a little bit while ago, is great subject line and interest,
Yep.
low encouragement, low offer. So keep your open rate strategy the same.
Yep.
Now let's update what the actual click through, update your offers
Yep.
or
Yep.
your call to action of what to do.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
Agreed.
and if you have a low open rate, places to start, your list in general. Okay. So if you are sending a generic email to a generic giant list, you can expect there to be a less than impressive click through rate.
Right. No
Because
personalization. Yep.
correct. Right. People, do you see that a lot about the niche audiences?
Uh, people just one size fits all. Like I'm not everybody. Even I love a good personalization. I love my name in the subject line. I just know that.
Yeah.
Like just having that merge tag in my first name, I'm just like immediately there's relevancy there, right? To drive that
Yeah.
open rate or capture my attention because nobody else is doing that. So it's just like anything that you can do to segment, anything that you can do to personalize, like you were hitting on before. Like so many people treat everybody the same, and it's just not relevant anymore.
No, so niche down those audiences. So low click through rate could mean you're too broad and
Yes.
you're too generic with your subject line.
Mhm.
And maybe it's the send time. When do we think are ideal times to send emails?
That is humans cannot, like, when you're done sending or done creating the email, it's not the best time to
Yeah,
send.
don't go hit send.
No, but it's really cool that there are AI tools built in MailChimp, that will allow you to get a recommendation on the best send time. So it's going to scan your audience. It's called send time optimization. It's going to scan your audience and say like, hey, they signed up at this time and they're clicking at emails typically at this time, and it's looking at the time zone of the IP of the person that signed up, and it's going to recommend, say, hey, like we might send it at 4 p.m. Eastern time or 4 p.m. Pacific time. And that's the optimal time to send based on the data we have. So it's not a guess. It's actually educated assumption based on metrics we already have. Right. So I love that, that I'm not just when I'm done, designing the header and I think it looks okay. Like I need a, educated scientific guess. And I love that AI can do that now.
And so without that AI tool, so first of all, I wrote that down. Send time optimization is fantastic. And if you're utilizing MailChimp, you got it going on. We can use that. But let's say you're just like sending an email. I would venture to say early in the morning is the best time to send emails. That's a very, very, very high level guess or recommendation. So if you have no metrics to look at, odds are morning is better.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's why if you notice when you wake up in the morning, starting at 4:00 in the morning Central Time, I've noticed my inbox fills up between 4 and 9 a.m. Just because that's when everybody's, and honestly, that's when I'm reading my email.
Right. I'm not waiting to get home and checking my emails. Yeah, I'm starting my day with
then I stop at lunch normally, and piddle around, look at my emails. Now I'm always in my inbox, but I live an email life. Not all homeowners live that. So I think a healthy email program looks like a consistent email output. So you're not emailing once and then emailing 6 weeks later and then 2 months later and then 4 in a row. There needs to be a cadence that is calm yet intentional. So maybe it's weekly or monthly or bi-weekly, but you need to challenge yourself to get consistent. And then you need to be pivoting based off feedback.
Correct.
So use the data inside of the software that you're using to give you guidance, and then make these little tweaks, and don't change everything at once.
Right.
Just a little bit at a time, and you're constantly growing your marketing, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like a recipe. Yeah. Constantly tweaking it, constantly making yours to figure out what works. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, if I were to call you and say, Jocelyn, I have a client, will you go look at their email account? What's the first thing that you go look at for diagnosing?
I'm looking at the click rates. Honestly, I love looking at the click map. That is my favorite thing in MailChimp because that will give me access to like the design, right? Like what does the email look like? But then it's like, what are folks interested in? What are they clicking on from top to bottom? Because it's basically giving me a screenshot of the email and then every call to action, everything that we talked about before, like from the top to bottom, right? And I can see like, oh, these folks are really clicking on this particular call to action at the top. Then I click on that call to action, and then I'm like, okay, how many people are clicking on it? What types of people are clicking on it? And what time people are clicking on that? Like we can see all of that. How many times did one person click on that same button? I can see all of that. And if I see like the same person clicking on the CTA more than once, that's a hot lead. I might actually get on the phone with that person and try to get their business. That's how important like these metrics are. But like that click-through rate, those clicks, I'm looking at every email, looking at the click, seeing who clicked and all of that. That's like people are amazed by the amount of data that we collect. And
Yep.
all of that is, you can spend hours looking at it, but that's just where I go to diagnose things from beginning to end.
I love that. So I just wrote that down too. The click map. Look at all that cool stuff. Cool
Yeah,
stuff.
it's insane. It's all hidden though. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
one person just focused on the design, and then another person just focused on like, okay, how did this perform? For sure.
Yeah. So, okay. Last thing here. Let's wrap this up here a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what is one piece of advice, which you kind of just hit on this, so you might have to reiterate a little bit,
Okay.
for a home service company that's like, okay, I want to get started in email marketing. If you had to tell them like one solid place to start, what would you say?
Oh, I would say that welcome email. I'm really
Oh,
big on introductions, and onboarding and telling me what you can offer. For example, like for home services, like, I have my home and I have a water leak here, right? And I can't remember who I talked to about it, who fixed it the last time.
mm,
And so if I have that introductory like business card email that I can always save, like I have a Rolodex of them, and just of businesses that we go to, businesses that we recommend. And I usually go and look at my welcome emails and say like, okay, they do this. They usually have a testimonial or two in the welcome email. And I can go back and find and say like, oh, that's a business I use. I kind of use it that I might be weird. But welcome emails are like,
no, so that's a great idea. So, like me and my branding mind, like, hey, welcome to, thank you for using our company in the past. Welcome to our email cadence, and like, welcome to our emails. And we're going to be sending out an email once a month,
yep,
like, make it manageable. So, I love that idea. I think that's a cool idea. It's just like, even if you wanted to reinvigorate your email list, you could send this, let me reintroduce myself,
yes,
kind of vibe. So, that's a
right,
great idea. I would tell them to launch a very simple monthly newsletter that is engaging, and the click through would be at the top. Click here to schedule with us.
for sure.
And then all throughout the email would be like, click here to see our specials, click here to follow us on socials, because
Mhm.
I want something out of that email.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Jocelyn, if someone wants to learn more about MailChimp, so of course, if they're a Lemon Seed client, we can connect them with MailChimp. We love our partnership with MailChimp.
Yeah.
And so you could visit us. So if you are not working with Lemon Seed, but you're like, hey, I love what you are talking about today, you can visit us online at lemonseedmarketing.com or email us at hello@lemonseedmarketing.com. But if you're not a client of Lemon Seed, maybe you're not even in the industry that Lemon Seed is in, and they wanted to use MailChimp for their services, how do they go about reaching out to you?
Yeah. I mean, just our normal website, MailChimp.com. We have our free account there. But again, I wouldn't do that without the guidance of Lemon Seed Marketing. I know, like you were saying, like for folks that aren't clients just yet, but definitely you don't want to go heads into, doing this work without a partner. Even just like a onboarding session, or getting me set up for success, or even like the, introductory package. Because once you figure it out, with a partner, or once you have that framework for success, like you understand the value of email marketing moving forward. It takes that strategic guidance to move forward. But again, anyone can set up an account at MailChimp.com. It's free for up to 500 contacts for the initial plan, but expect to grow. Expect to
Yeah.
grow, expect to launch and leverage a partner, and particularly Lemon Seed, for this market, because they're going to know exactly what you don't know so that you can grow for sure.
Perfect. Well, we love working with MailChimp. We think it's one of the easiest platforms to work inside of. So
Oh, we
that's
love you guys too.
yes, yes. So to our listeners, thank you so much. Just so you know, Lemon Seed is here to be your marketing department, your branding
Yes.
team. We want to help you grow your company in a legacy style format where people become your raving fans, and your brand becomes their top company to go to. So if you want to reach out to us, we would love to visit with you about that or rebuilding the brand for your company. Guys, thanks for talking to us about email marketing. I encourage you to go launch some emails, do some cool things. Don't stop sipping lemonade, and we'll see you next time. Bye.